Final episodes can be really difficult. How do you tie up a series that ran for decades and make people satisfied? Dramas can be hit or miss depending on if you feel the characters all reached a solid conclusion and or that all your burning questions have been answered. Sitcoms, however, have their own unique issues with final episodes. It's rarely about tying up loose ends and often more about making sure all your favorite characters get happy endings. A show like How I Met Your Mother had a poorly received final episode by being burdened by an 8-year mystery of who the mother would be. Seinfeld upset viewers by putting their cast in jail, and Friends' finale felt more like a fizzle out than a grand farewell in many ways. We contacted all of the TV-minded folks at Geekscape and asked them what their top 10 favorite sitcom finales were, and then we took those results and made this final list. I'm Katie Hampton of the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast and the Christian Cringe podcast and Internet Supreme Court podcast and sometimes the Marvel Movie Talks podcast and whenever Matt needs me to do something podcast. Yeah. And these are Geekscape's official top 10 best sitcom finales. Obviously, spoilers ahead for 10 great shows. But first, we recently launched a Patreon page where viewers like you will be able to vote on video topics and place your own votes for future list videos, as well as get early access to videos and join our Discord server. Sign up today. Now, on to the list. Number 10, New Girl. When New Girl first launched, it seemed like a perfectly fine starring vehicle for Zooey Deschanel, but very quickly it became a beloved show for its ensemble cast, not unlike earlier sitcoms like Friends or How I Met Your Mother. By the time the series got its final season, it was a slightly rushed 8 episodes that involved a 3-year time jump ahead, tying up romantic relationships with Jess, Schmidt, Winston, and Nick. We see Schmidt and Cece as parents, we see Jess and Nick get married, and we see Winston and Allie prepare for their first child. When the final episode arrives, Nick and Jess find out that they're being evicted from their loft that kickstarted the entire series. The episode is packed with references to past episodes and ends with a giant game of True American to help them pack things up. After packing everything up, it's revealed the eviction notice was actually an elaborate prank from Winston. However, Jess and Nick decide they are ready to leave behind the loft and start fresh. Number 9, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. The Mary Tyler Moore Show was a groundbreaking series in the 1970s following a single 30-year-old woman who moves to Minneapolis following a broken engagement and ends up working on a local TV station's 6 o'clock news. For 7 seasons, Mary navigated work, friendships, and love, but by the time we reach the final episode, her friends have moved away. She's still not gotten married, and she's suddenly fired, along with all of her co-workers, from the TV station. Her friends try to convince her to move away, but she's proud of the life she's built already in the Twin Cities, deciding to stay where she is. After a tearful final news broadcast, the group hugs it out, knowing that it's the end and they struggle to let go. In the final shot of the show, Mary is last to leave, turning and looking at the studio one last time, smiling as she turns off the lights and closes the door. Number 8, Hart. For many people, this is the number 1 by a mile. In 1982, CBS launched the series Hart, starring Bob Newhart as a travel author Dick Loudon, who relocates from New York to a small rural town in Vermont to run a small inn with his wife Joanna. The critically acclaimed sitcom ran for 8 seasons before deciding to end in 1990. The finale has since gone down as one of the most unexpected ever. The episode begins with the town being turned into a golf course, with Dick and Joanna being the only townsfolk to not cash out. It jumps to 5 years later with their inn located in the middle of the golf course. Various townsfolk return for a reunion, which frustrates Dick into storming out of the inn, only to be hit by a golf ball. Suddenly, Dick wakes up in bed with the actress who played his wife in the previous sitcom, The Bob Newhart Show. The entire 8-season show is revealed to be one extended dream, brought on by Japanese food before bed and leaving many viewers shocked, but also delighted. Number 7, 30 Rock. For 7 seasons, 30 Rock was seen as the smartest show on television following the life of producer Liz Lemon and her show, TGS. The last episode takes place during the farewell episode of TGS, and Liz Lemon has agreed to do the show one last time. In classic 30 Rock style, there are various plots running all at once, but the most pressing plots involve Tracy trying to keep the finale from airing, Jenna not having an emotional reaction to the last episode, and Jack Donaghy desperately trying to repair his friendship with Liz. Eventually, the removal of Jenna's mirror leads her to feeling emotions about the end of the show, and Liz is able to convince Tracy to go on the air one last time. In the end, she also forgives Jack, and they are able to remain friends. The most memorable piece of the finale comes in the closing seconds after tons of little Easter eggs throughout the entire show. Kenneth is revealed to be immortal. We jump to the distant future where the ever-youthful Kenneth is now network president of NBC and greenlights a show created by Liz's great-granddaughter about her great-grandmother's stories from working on TGS. Number 6. Shitz Creek. It was a slow process for Shitz Creek to find its footing with audiences, but once word spread, it spread like wildfire. For 6 years, the show was one of the most wholesome and charming comedies of all time. When the finale aired in April of 2020, it was exactly the type of heartwarming ending we needed at that point in our collective lives, and it's no surprise it went on to virtually sweep the Emmys. There's no twists or big reveals with the final episode. It's just an emotional and beautiful ending to the story of a family we learned to love. David gets married to Patrick, while Moira and Johnny are finally able to leave the town of Shitz Creek for a life back in California. The Shitz Creek finale reminds us that sometimes you don't need something flashy, you just need to leave your characters happy. Number 5. The Office. The merits of season 8 and 9 of The Office are always divisive. While most people tend to agree that the show loses steam without Michael Scott, there are still some genuinely great episodes scattered amongst those 2 seasons. One of those genuinely great episodes happens to be the last one, simply called Finale. In this episode, we see the life of our favorite employees a year after the release of the docuseries The Office: An American Workplace. Everything mostly centers around a fan Q&A and Dwight's wedding to Angela. There is great comedy throughout the entire episode, but it's the emotional beats that really hit home and make this one of the greatest finales. It's the moments like Michael Scott returning to be Dwight's best man, Dwight firing Jim and Pam so he can give them severance pay for their move to Texas, and just the cast of friends reminiscing about their fondest memories in the Scranton office. Number 4. Parks and Recreation. It feels weirdly perfect that Parks and Recreation is one slot above The Office on our list. The 2 shows felt inseparable at the time, but if the die-hard fans of The Office feel like the show ran 2 seasons too long, the Parks and Recreation die-hard fans feel that the show ended at exactly the right time. For the final season, the writers did a 2-year time jump. By the final episode, the Pawnee team comes back to the offices to reminisce when they are interrupted by someone reporting a broken swing at the nearby park. The entire finale utilizes an amazing story technique in which we join our favorite characters as they work on fixing the swing set while we jump forward to random futures to see characters' eventual fate. It allows for so many opportunities of laugh-out-loud comedy as well as tear-inducing joy. I'll avoid spoiling too many major story beats, but the beautiful send-off to Pawnee punching bag Jerry really pulled on my heartstrings. Number 3. Cheers. For 11 seasons, it was one of those perfect water cooler sitcoms, and the finale was a big deal. How big? It was a 3-part episode level of big. In 1993's One for the Road, Sam has a chance to reunite with Diane, his original love at the start of the series. The 2 agree to run off to California together, but when the plane is delayed, they take that as a sign that their relationship might be doomed. Diane goes to LA while Sam returns to the bar. The episode ends with them closing up shop while Norm, one of his regulars, says that Sam can never leave his one true love, the bar. Sam closes the bar for the night and exits at the back. While the finale could have gone with the simple Sam and Diane reunited happy ending, it went with something that feels more real and up for interpretation and reminds audiences, new and old, why the series was a juggernaut for over a decade. Number 2. MASH. For 27 years, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, the final episode of MASH was the most watched moment in TV history. Over the last 15 years, it has only been surpassed by Super Bowls and still continues to remain most watched single episode of television series in U.S. history. Given how we consume media today, it's safe to say the title will never be taken, short of if there's ever a final episode to The Simpsons. Even that is still a maybe. The finale of the series followed the same tone that made the show iconic. It had moments of being laugh-out-loud brilliant while having moments of the reality of war in beautiful and poignant ways. Alan Alda directed the 2-hour send-off to his beloved character Hawkeye as he finally is able to leave Vietnam. We wrap up the stories for beloved characters like Houlihan, Klinger, and BJ. But the most powerful and remembered moment is as a helicopter takes Hawkeye back to America, he sees the message goodbye spelled out in rocks and smiles. Before we reveal number 1, here's just a few honorable mentions that almost made our list.
I'm sorry. That sounds awful.
So, you're leaving. It must have been a hard decision.
Honestly, it wasn't.
Okay, should we get some coffee?
Sure. Where?
Attention shoppers, please bring your final purchases up to checkout because this store is about to close forever. On behalf of everyone here at Cloud9, I'd just like to say bye-bye.
And finally, number 1, The Good Place. This one was on practically everyone's list and topped many of them for a good reason. Few sitcoms have caused more tears than the perfect 4-season run of The Good Place. Michael Schur's impressive philosophical sitcom ends where it promised to begin, with our main characters finally in heaven, or the good place. After discovering in the previous episode that heaven actually is awful due to it having no ending, the team along with converted demon Michael redesigned the structure of the afterlife. In the new system, after you feel like you've achieved everything you've ever dreamed of, you're able to finally peacefully pass into nothingness. For the final episode, we watch each of our main characters as they feel like they're ready to move on until Eleanor is the only person remaining. Realizing that her last wish is for Michael to be made into a human to live his own life, she convinces the judge, aka Maya Rudolph, to make that a reality. Knowing she completed everything, she moves on and becomes a series of sparks in the sky, one that lands on someone's shoulder, motivating him to do a good deed. Michael, now on Earth, says Eleanor's catchphrase, "Keep it sleazy," before smiling to the sky. And with that, I'm out of tissues. So I'm going to go compose myself, but if you disagree with any of our list, and I know I myself even disagree with some, Parks and Rec, please don't hesitate to comment below. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more videos just like this one. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.